Welcome to the top games of 2015. The way that I put together this list is that no early access games can be used, and all 5 games that I give best games of that year of what I played. I can't rate games that I did not play. They're all kind of equal, even though they're not really, but they're all equal on a scale of they all get the award for best top 5 games of 2015. So the order in which I mention them is actually only alphabetical. It does not have to do with if they're better or worse than another game. So with that in mind, the first game I'd like to point out is Apathy, which is this like side-scroller Metrovania style of game. I really liked it. It was great when I first played it. It was fun, exciting, had cool design. It was kind of like this interesting story. There wasn't really too much of a mix-up in the gameplay overall, except at the very end where it became like a completely different game, and that shows through. But it was still really good. I really liked it. The aesthetic and the way that it was put together was really cool. Combat system, all of it. It was like a really great package. And then the next game that, top game 2015 was Chroma Squad. Chroma Squad was a crowd-funded, kick-started game from Behold Studios. Their other game being Knights of the Pen and Paper 1. They did not do the second one. And so their Kickstarter campaign was actually successful, and it gave birth to this tactics game with a Power Ranger influence, obviously. It was really fun. It was really great. It really embraced the aesthetic. It built a couple of mechanics around it, around that idea of these people making like a TV show, and it built mechanics around it. It was really fantastic. Really great tactics game. It's really easy. So I mean, if you wanted to get into tactics games, this would be like a really great like first one. But it was really good. Next game is Honey Pop. Do you want me to fake reasons why this is on the list, or do you want real ones? It was an interesting match 3 with some really cool art and other gameplay mechanics. Okay, next one, King's Quest. King's Quest takes the the newer style of point and click that Telltale made popular with their games, but it offers, in my opinion, a like more interesting story and some cool puzzles. There were some really cool story elements to what was going on, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. Most Telltale games I am not into. There were a couple that were pretty good, but I think this one pretty much sweeps pretty much all of them, except for maybe a couple Telltale games, but all of them. It pretty much sweeps all of them, because I feel like the story is more important, a longer period of time. It's not just like waiting for the next 10 seconds. And the length, actually, it's a good thing to point out, was actually pretty long. King's Quest, first episode's actually free. So, you can test it out and not lose anything. Pretty cool. And the last top 5 game, before I get to it, I want to do some honorable mentions, because, there are a lot of games that come out, and some need to be mentioned. The first one being Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's a return to form for the franchise, and it's not shit. Personally, I hated 3. Unity was a buggy mess, apparently. I did not play it, so I cannot give you my honest personal experience, but it looked like it didn't work. And I'm not into boats, so Assassin's Creed 4, not into the pirates. But Assassin's Creed Syndicate, return to form for the most part. I know you can't necessarily go back, but it was as close as you can get, and it wasn't shit. So yeah, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Another great honorable mention. It has some really great value for what you pay, and it's not even $60 anymore, so I think that fraction, that ratio, is actually more in the consumer's favor. You get a zombies mode, you get a multiplayer mode, you get a campaign mode, you get a twin stick shooter mode. You can play the campaign with friends, like up to 3 other friends or something. So like everything you can play with other people. It's a fantastic proposition for like money, like content value proposition. The story is shit. I do actually care about Call of Duty stories, and this one was so shit. It was sad. It was very sad, actually. Okay, and then the last honorable mention was Dirt 3. Dirt 3 is actually pretty cool racing game. The only other racing, like true racing game that I've ever played was Grid 2, and I liked that one, but I think Dirt 3 does a better job introducing new players to racing games. It provides this really cool like arrows on the road mechanic that like tell you your speed and like whether to slow down or not. It's a really cool system. So yeah, those are my 3 honorable mentions, and so the final game of the year is actually Starcraft II. Starcraft II Legacy of the Void came out in 2015, and it gave birth to like one of like the best esport in my opinion. Like I enjoy watching the shit out of Starcraft II Legacy of the Void. It's so amazing what those pros can do that to be honest, I have played more Dota 2 than Starcraft 2. But why is that? It's because the skill ceiling is so high in Starcraft 2. These people are averaging 200 to 300 actions clicking. So an action is a click, a keyboard press, you know, a minute, and that's fantastic. That's so great. And so you know, it's really cool to play. I mean, it's fun to play. You get to learn all these things, and it's cool to watch. It's a real challenge, and so that's why that's the final game of the year for me. If you wanted to get cynical, I could also do my top 5 worst games of the year. So that would include Magicka 2. Magicka 2 is simply not as good as the first one, and still after a couple patches it's broken and missing some features, so Magicka 2 definitely is the first to be mentioned for worst games that came out that year. Not a hero. I don't understand why some people liked this game. It was shit. There was no options menu for like video settings, and it was just like an incomplete package. I really didn't understand why people liked that game. Yoshi's Woolly World. Now, Yoshi's Woolly World, to be fair, is a very well crafted game. It's just hard as balls. Yoshi's Woolly World not only was super hard and very pretty, but it was super hard. I felt like I couldn't like make any progress, and I was playing with someone else, by the way. Like I was playing co-op, so it's not even like I was just all alone. That game's just hard as balls. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do a top 5 worst game. I'll only do top 4. And to round out the end of that is Elite Dangerous for last worst game that came out that year. Now, Elite Dangerous, I actually put in like 30-ish hours into that game, and it was fun-ish for a bit. But then they released the DLC for it, which was like another $30-ish or whatever. And at the time, Elite Dangerous was $60, so, you know, it was expecting me to pay like $120 or $90 or whatever to continue the game that I was already playing. It was bullshit. To have to pay extra content that they promised to the people, you know, buying the game. So, you know, if you want a full, complete Star Space Sim game, go get Star Citizen, probably. So yeah, that was my top worst honorable mentions and stuff for 2015. I know we're in 2016, but that's the whole joke. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't play every game from 2015, so maybe yours list differs from mine, but that's the whole point of making my list. It's to talk about my list. So, yeah, see you when I do top games of 2016 and 2017. 'Cause comedy.